Recording. And again, remember, these recordings are always posted on our YouTube channel. Do not forget that our YouTube channel is South High School Spartan or South High School Cyber Patriot, and you need to like that YouTube channel or subscribe to the YouTube channel so that you guys can get all the videos that we're having. Just as a total side note, I am watching the Cubs and the Dodgers while we are actually doing this call. So if I get excited, that means the Dodgers are doing well. And if I don't get excited, that means they're not. So FYI, heads up on that. So let's see. Donna, I'm going to mute you. And Mr. Bush and Mr. Rodriguez are on the call as well. And they are not muted, so they are, feel free to jump in whenever they would like to add a comment. And yes, Mr. Bush. Okay, so let's get started. So no, the Dodgers are not winning right now. They're losing 2-1, but it's very, very early still. So the email that you guys got on for this call actually had 2 videos that you were supposed to watch, and we are going to go through that right now. Okay, so we are going to take a look at those 2 videos. We're going to talk about general comments about the practice round itself. And then I'm going to open up the floor to our experienced users for how they actually do their forensic questions, because I had a lot of questions in the last few days about that and about how people were able to come up with answers so quickly. Okay, so first things first, let's talk about the practice round. I want to say thank you to all of you who came and participated. We had almost 100% participation, which was awesome. So I'm really excited about that. So thank you for doing that. And does anyone have any comments or any questions or any concerns about the practice round that maybe that we as a group can address with each other? If you do, please put those into the chat room. And as we're talking, we can start to kind of solve those issues or kind of discuss what we have here. Brennan, you said find .-name print is the command. Is that something that you wanted to discuss, or is that just something that you noticed that you had going with the practice round? So write your comment there, please. One of the things that I noticed was that we were all very, very focused for those 3 hours. And I really do appreciate that, because you guys did a really great job with getting in there, downloading the images, finding your space, and getting just really into the nitty-gritty of what you needed to do. So great job with that. Our first real competition, round 1, is on November 3rd. So remember, that is just a few weeks away. That is the last day of quarter 1. So be aware that teachers may be testing, teachers may be giving projects, and so you need to make sure that you are ready to go and the teachers are aware when your round is going to be. Remember, you are missing 4th, 5th, and 6th periods, and we start playing the competition at noon, and it goes all the way until 6 o'clock. So again, like I said, it's a 6-hour competition. We did our practice round in 3 hours so that you kind of get an idea and a sense of what you're really going up against, and how we are going to be playing the practice or the actual round 1 when we get there. Okay. Any other? I think you guys are all actually answering the questions. Okay. So thank you. Go ahead.
Julie, I have a couple just observations or things that I want to share from what I saw.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So first of all, this is something both Mr. Rodriguez and I saw, and it's common, so don't feel bad if you were one of those people. But we realized that a lot of times people were getting stuck. They were wanting to get help by asking somebody else, or just asking either Mr. Rodriguez or I how to solve a problem. And usually one of the first things we said was, have you tried to Google it? What was the results of your Google question? And how did you frame your question? And so I want to remind everybody that that should be one of your first things to do. Another thing was that you need to remember to write down everything you did. And can any of our experienced veterans tell us why that's so important? Just go ahead and type it in the chat room. Actually, anybody really.
Well, Mr. Bush, we're going to get into that in the videos in a little bit. The question was, why do we write things down? Ren, because if you screw up badly and have to start over, you'll have everything that you did. So we don't forget. Yes. Those are all very important things that we need to remember. Very good. Go ahead, Mr. Bush.
Yeah, and I wanted to teach you guys, some of you, a new term. From previous years, when you screw up, sometimes you end up actually preventing your computer from booting or being able to log in. And we call that bricking your computer, because you take something that is useful and turn it into basically a hunk of metal or a brick. So, and fortunately you can start over, but of course if you didn't write down everything you did, then either you may brick your computer again, or you may not be able to get all those points back.
Okay, so thank you very much, Mr. Bush, for those observations. I definitely agree with you. When in doubt, guys, what do I say? Come on, somebody chat it for me. There you go, Joy. Google it. That's right. That's right. Google it. Google it. Because we are going to talk about tonight the importance of Googling it, especially when you are trying to find the forensic questions. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about make lemonade, Melina, let's go ahead and talk about the video, the first video that we had. This was a young man who made some videos that were a little bizarre, as I'm showing you guys right now. He was him driving or playing his car and talking about Cyber Patriot. And the first video was what to expect, or what to expect in Cyber Patriot. And I asked you guys the question, what is the most important thing he says you need to do during the competition? And Abraham, did you watch the video? I'm going to ask you, what was his most important thing that he said during the competition? Maybe Abraham's not listening. Anybody? What did he say was the most important thing you need for a competition? Ooh, Abraham busted. Manage your time well. Delvin, yes, but he also said that there was something even more important. What was it? Oh, look at this. These videos were 3 minutes and 40 seconds long, you guys. There is a reason why I'm sending you these things. You need to be watching this stuff. I am not doing this for my health here. You have to watch these videos, okay? The most important thing he said you need during the competition is, Mr. Bush just said it, a what? Thank you, Leon. A checklist. Leon, you can come get a piece of candy tomorrow. You must have a checklist, okay? You must have a checklist, because if you do not have a checklist, then you are not going to know how to prioritize what you are doing, and you are not going to have an idea as to what you can do first and quickest to get the most points, Okay, so that is one of the most important things that he said. In that video also, he said that usually on teams, and this is all true for almost every single one of these teams here, is that 1 to 2 teammates really take this seriously and everyone else is kind of along for the ride. Okay, so don't be one of those people that is along for the ride. Okay. The other thing is that the biggest thing, and Mr. Bush and Mr. Rodriguez are only 2 people that can help you, is that you need to go out onto YouTube and onto the different Google search engines and start to come up with videos of how to do things. Okay? That is one of the most important things that you need to do. Okay? This second video, since none of you guys watch these, no, Brennan, can you ask people from other teams during the game? No, you cannot. You can rely on your own people, but you cannot ask anyone else any questions, okay? You may ask Mr. Bush, Mr. Rodriguez, or myself a question, and we may try and guide you to the right answer, but we cannot tell you, okay? You need to definitely Google it, okay? The second way, okay, the second video that I sent you guys is how to prepare, okay, how to prepare. And again, this was a 3-minute and 45-second video that he gave some really, really good pointers, okay? There were 3 things that he said for you guys to do. Okay, there were 3 things that he said for you guys to do. The first thing was to make a checklist. Okay. The second thing is to delegate. Okay. What does that mean? What do we do that's delegating? Okay. What does that mean? That means that you are going to assign each person a task. So what that means is you're going to assign them an operating system. So not everyone is always going to be responsible for the Windows image. And I think that Lily, the JoBro team, asked us yesterday, do we always have to stay on in the same OS? No, you don't. No, if you decide you want to do Linux one time and you want to do Windows the next time, that's fine. But that is a team decision that you guys need to come up with. Okay. So delegate. Each person has a task. Okay. And then the third one was practice. Okay. And we have started to do this. With the different training rounds and with the practice round. But practicing is one of the big things that you need to do. Okay. So one of the things that he said was that you definitely need to know your way around the operating system that you're going to be using well enough so that you can Google your way through a problem. I really thought that that was very interesting because, as Mr. Bush and Mr. Rodriguez said, Googling your way out of a problem is going to help you solve the problem. Okay. One of the ways to give yourself an idea of how to get around the operating system is to familiarize yourself with the terminology of that operating system. So that I felt was really important because many of us do not know what the different terms are for the different operating systems. And so what you may do, yes, Isaac, what you may do is you need to make sure that you go to Google and type in general terms for Windows operating system and see what you find. Okay. Joy, I love that. Thank you. Just remember and, or not. The Boolean operators, absolutely. Okay. These are so important in Google. Okay. The other thing that he did say that I thought was very interesting was Google your operating system's hardening guide. Google your operating system's hardening guide. Mr. Bush, do you want to talk a little bit about that, or do you know what? Obviously, you know what that is, but maybe talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, sure. It's something actually. There's generically how do you harden a system, and that basically means eliminate all the vulnerabilities or reduce as many of the vulnerabilities as you can. So that's what the hardening term means. One thing I covered in the Tuesday morning meeting was the STIGs, that's the Security Technical Implementation Guides. So some of our more advanced teams have seen those before, but basically those are guides that explain exactly what you need to check for and how to fix problems. But more generically, you can find other checklists that say, you can Google how to harden Ubuntu. You could say how to harden Windows 8. Those are just simple terms, and then you'll find sites that give you a list of things to do. The STIGs are a concept that we've covered before in one of our GoToMeetings, and so once we get all the older videos posted back to the channel, people can look at those there too. And we may have other sessions as well once people have reviewed those and after I get some feedback on those. So anyway, that's all I have for now.
Okay, thank you so much for answering those questions for me. I noticed that in the chat room as we've been talking, a couple of you guys have posted a couple links to the different ideas and the delegation of roles or something like that. So I do appreciate all of that. Okay. Why can't other people help us if we can just Google everything? Because Mark, the whole idea and concept of this competition is how well can you find the information for yourself. Okay. And yes, Melina is correct. Not everybody knows how to Google well.
I'll give you another answer. This is a competition. So if we wanted to just create one team and cheat and use 70 people to create one team and just get the best ideas out of everybody, we could do that. But that wouldn't be any fun for the people on the teams, and it would be cheating. So the idea is you're in competition with each other. You'll find, especially as your team develops and you're starting to get together these lists, you're going to want to keep those close to your vest. You don't want to just give them away. During the practice competition, it was great to see a lot of sharing of information. But during the competition, you're not going to want to give away any of your points. The other thing is after the competition is passed, we do encourage everyone to sort of share the type of vulnerabilities that were found. The next competition may or may not have those same vulnerabilities, but that's a chance for you to learn about what might come up on a competition.
So one of the things that we talked about in the Tuesday afternoon call was the fact that our Google Drive has an immense amount of information. And what I did tonight for us is I just pulled up the Google Drive and I clicked on underneath where it says Cyber Patriots. Underneath where it says checklists and information by operating system, what you can see is in any of these folders, there's going to be a plethora of information. Okay. I see that Zeke and Maya posted their Windows 7 checklist. So if you go in here, you can see what other teams have as their checklist. You just as a team yourself have to do a little bit of research in this amazingly immense Google Drive that we have created over the last 3 years so that it can help you. Okay. So that was Windows 7. Here's Linux. Somebody asked me, Joey Mills Linux terminal commands reference page. Look at this. These are all different commands and the definition of what it does. Look at how awesome this is. Joey did this last year. He was my TA, so I was making him do some work. Just Ubuntu information guide. Here's another thing that he created. And these are notes that you can look at and use throughout the competition. But if you and your team have decided that you are going to be in charge of Linux or in charge of the Windows 7, it is up to you, and it would behoove you to look through this drive and look through these different checklists. I mean, look at this. Matt Crane put in hints for Linux from last year. Google trying to delete a file, do not have permission. He's giving you the ideas of what to Google right there and giving you guys some ideas of where to go from that, okay? The other thing that is in this drive, in this Cyber Patriot drive, is if you go down to where it says weekly meeting, all of these PowerPoints that myself and Mr. Bush are doing and Mr. Rodriguez are all in here. Tuesday morning's call or Tuesday morning's in classroom with Mr. Bush is in here that you can look at and see exactly what he was talking about the STIGs if you were not able to be there in the morning. Okay. So these are all available to you. You just need to know how to go into and actually look up your resources. One of the things that's awesome about Google Docs is also that you can search inside your drive. Say, for example, I want to see a document that Maya Matterman made me. Look at all of these amazing documents that she has given to me over the years. There's tons of them. Okay, there's tons of them. So you need to just go in and familiarize yourself with the drive. Okay, in the 2017-2018 Cyber Patriots, you've got the practice round and you have people's scores from that time. In here is the training round and the training round scoring engines and score reports that you guys have. Those VMs don't work anymore because they are expired, but I just wanted you guys to see where it is. So again, like I said, it is so important for you to familiarize yourself with what is in that drive. The other thing, another really good, important person who had really good checklist was Naseem Bahar. She did Ubuntu checklist. There it is, right there. Okay. All of you have access to this. This is gold, you guys. This is absolute and complete gold because it keeps going and going forever and ever because she has tons of information in here and is giving us her basically her tips and tricks. Okay.
Okay.
So on that note, I want to kind of move from the talk about looking and searching in our Google Drive and what you should be prepared for and whatnot, and kind of open the floor up to some of our more experienced members to talk about forensic questions and how they really do look at and search for those forensic questions, because I know that came up a lot in the different questions and problems that people may have had. And what I'm going to do is, while you guys are talking, is I am going to take notes on some of the forensic questions here. So I am going to look at my list here. Aren, I'm unmuting you. Okay. Go ahead, Aren. You can be unmuted.
Oh, okay. Hi. So when it comes to the forensics questions, usually the most important thing. Okay, Isaac. Wow. All right. Anyways, the most important thing is to read the forensics question. It should be like one of the first things you do after you read the README. You have to read it because you don't know what they're going to ask, and sorry. Because you don't know what they're going to ask you, and you might end up like deleting something that like has to do with the forensic question, and you won't want that because you don't have the chance to get like the 6 or 7 points you get from the question. So read it, and then if you can't solve it right away, then just move on to something else and then get back to it. But make sure you know what they're asking you.
Corinne, can I ask a quick question? Did you find sometimes that if you do not read the forensic question and you accidentally delete something or whatnot, that you can't
Yeah.
necessarily find the forensic question?
Yeah, so funny story, like I think one of the first competitions, I think it was like the second competition that I had to do, they were asking something about ports and I didn't realize it until like at the very end, I downloaded some kind of like antivirus software and it deleted the bad port and the forensic question wanted the name of the port and I couldn't provide the name of it because I deleted it already, so I couldn't get those points, and it was like really bad, and my team kind of yelled at me. So yeah.
Okay, well, thank you, Ren. That was really awesome. We appreciate your answers. Let's go on to either Daniel or Delvin. You guys are on the same team. Does one of you guys want to unmute yourself and comment on forensic questions? Delvin does. All right, Delvin, you're up, buddy. No. Oh, that's right. His microphone doesn't work. All right, I'm going down my list. Isaac, I'm going to unmute you. So it's your turn.
Just talk about like in terms of actually answering the forensic question.
Yes. How do you and your teammates solve your forensic questions? And feel free, Garvin or Leon, jump in and help him out with that.
Okay, so when it comes to forensic questions, there's always like a couple of different kinds to answer. Like for Ubuntu, at least, there's like in terms of categories, there's the find a file in your system, or find whatever user is a part of a group, or last year I remember there was a specific what was it? It was some sort of decoding question. It asked, I forgot exactly what the code was, but it wanted to know what it was when you decoded it. So I always try to find out what kind of question it is. Oh, Brendan, when we had to look up a website and then it just kind of, yeah, we Googled it. Yeah, Delvin knows what I'm talking about. Yeah, last year, so we had to do that. So I always try to categorize the question, and then there's always a specific approach you can take with it. Like for example, on the practice one we had for Ubuntu, it was asking us to find an audiobook file. And once you find out what kind of file type it was Mr. Bush put it in SHA 256. What kind of file type it is, you can always just use a command. So there's always like different, I try to keep myself different kinds of methods to approaching these kinds of questions. So get used to those kinds of questions.
Okay. Thank you, Isaac. Joy, you said that you wanted to talk. All right, we'll go find you. Let's unmute you, Joy. Go for it. Go
Wait,
ahead.
I can talk?
Yes, you can. Go for it.
Can you hear me?
Yes, you can.
Oh my gosh, it's cool. Oh wait, okay. So like, it's not really much of like a technique kind of a thing, but just more like if you're ever stuck on a forensic question, just of course go up to Google and search it up. But considering that it's 6 hours long, just pretty much like don't ever really give up, I guess. Like, and if you have a hard time searching for things, of course, go for a command prompt and just like search from there. You just need to know your certain commands and just pretty much like look up the directories, and you should be fine like afterwards. Otherwise, just ask from your teammates. They should know best. Pretty much.
All right. Thank you, Joy. Thank you, Joy.
Yay!
Let's see. Nick Budding or Landon. Landon's not here tonight. Let's see. Anybody or Mason from your team? Simon, you said I've noticed that the images are themed with cult culture themes. Yes, absolutely. They always will be. Always will be. Ashley, as I say, Ashley Chen, you want to go ahead and unmute yourself and you can give some ideas as well?
Hey, what's up? Can people hear me?
Yes, they can. Go for
Oh.
it.
Okay, so I was just going off of Joy's. I just wanted to say, like, make sure you check certain websites. Like, you'll know later on that there's a lot of especially like forums like Stack Overflow and like Reddit. Those are usually really good for answering questions that you'll have, like tech specific communities. So like in Google, you would put like in like Reddit.com or in like well, I don't actually think Reddit is blocked on the school Wi-Fi or something like that, but maybe just Stack Overflow. But just generally check like the notable forums, and you probably would get your answer there because it's much more, obviously, there's a lot more answers on those types of communities than you'll find just like general Googling.
Yes, I absolutely agree with you, Ashley. Thank you so much for that. Simon had some comments in the chat room. Simon, do you want to talk and kind of share with us, or are you happy just writing over there? Because I can. Are you unmuted? Go ahead, Simon. Go for it. Are you there, Simon? It says that you're unmuted. I don't know if he can let you get your mic. Okay, I'll let you get your mic for a minute. But I absolutely agree with what everybody's saying. But one of the things that Diane had mentioned to me, and she said that she wasn't going to be on the call tonight because she had something with a college thing. But she had said, you know what, like Joy was saying, you have 6 hours. And if you and your partner, the partner is the one that's going to be on the computer who is going to be doing the actual like coding part of the competition, maybe you can be the person that's in charge of the forensic question. And you know what? When in doubt, just keep trying. And she said that, no, Simon, not yet. Nope, not yet. But Diane was mentioning that one of the things was that she had to find, like Aren was saying, the port. And eventually she just found a bunch of different port identifications, and she just kept trying it in the answer key. And then once she got the point, she kept the answer and saved it. And if she didn't get the point, then she moved on to the next answer or the next idea that she may have had. Joy said, legit, last year, Diane and I gave up one of my forensic questions.
Hello? Can anyone hear me?
Yes, Simon, go for it. All right, yes.
Okay. Well, I'm not that experienced with forensic questions per se, but as I said in the chat, what I've noticed is that all the images are based off of, usually have quote unquote a story. They have they're based off of a reference to a movie or a video game, and then you can use that information. So what I did last year's theme was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So I used the references, like the locations that the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles went to, and I used that to answer the forensics questions on where they had to meet up.
Wow, very resourceful, Simon. That is a really great suggestion. I think one of the training images was all about Kung Fu Panda.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah, no, that's great, Simon. Thank you so much for that comment. That was really, really awesome. But I think Mr. Bush also has some comments for us as well. So all of you that spoke up, the 5 of you that spoke up, you guys earned yourself some candy. So come on in next tomorrow for some candy. But Mr. Bush, go for it.
So I'm going to add to what Aren said about the doing the forensics question first. When you read the README, that obviously gives you some information about what you need to do. But sometimes you don't realize it, but the forensics question also gives you things about what you're supposed to do. For example, when a competition, I remember there was a backdoor that was operating. I think it's related to what Aren was talking about, was that, you know, there was a port operating on this thing. But if you didn't realize there was a backdoor, you know, you had to actually disable that backdoor to get some points. So the fact that they kind of tipped you off that, you know, you don't just find it, you also then have to disable it. So there's hints actually in the questions that you can use. So be sure to use that. The other thing I wanted to point out is that if you, this is more for the newbies, but if you do something wrong and you lose points, like you delete a user that you shouldn't have, you get that awful music and you maybe get embarrassed by your neighbors, but you can actually put that user back in and get the points back. So you don't always have to, completely start from scratch and redo everything. Sometimes you can do something simple like that and save yourself some time. Same thing with moving files or deleting files that you shouldn't have. And lastly, during the competition, somebody changed the password of the login user. And this is especially the case with Windows. They give you like one master account that brings you right through, and that basically doesn't have a password. Something got wrong and they couldn't log into that account anymore. But what they were able to do was to use a different administrator account, give that account a password, and then we were able to log in again. So there's some tricks like that where you are not going to necessarily be dead in the water. So you can always start over from scratch if you have to, but you might be able to get around some of these issues by doing those tricks. One other last point, you don't always get points for what you do, even if it's the right thing to do. So don't get discouraged. In one competition, you may do something and it may not get you any points. In another competition, it could score you big points. One example is you could install an antivirus because it doesn't have one, and maybe you'll get points. And then the next competition, you don't install an antivirus, no points. Don't be discouraged. Do the appropriate cybersecurity thing.
Can you hear me?
And then you'll be better off. That's all I had.
Mr. Bush, I think that you kind of really hit the nail on the head there. There were a couple people who were in the room who said, "Oh my goodness, I just did this and it didn't give me any points." And then someone else said, "Oh no, well, it did give me points, but why did that happen?" Sometimes the points come in right away, and sometimes the points are triggered later after you have done something else. So you kind of need to just follow your checklist, follow what you know is going to get you in the right spot and the very cyber secure, and then you may get points later again. I'm actually laughing too at the chat room that happened because they're talking about when they Google the backdoor, and they were actually talking about making a backdoor. I remember a couple years ago when someone Googled backdoor and they actually got YouTube videos and actually physically making a wood door for a house. So you have to be careful what you are Googling and you need to be specific in how you are Googling. So that is, those are just kind of some tips that I had. I think that is it for tonight. Does anyone have any general questions? This chat room has been very active tonight, so I really do appreciate that. I would like you all to go back and watch this young man's 2 YouTube videos. It will take you all of 8 minutes to do. And just, jot down some things that he says, because what he is saying is really very important. We will have more information for our next GoToMeeting call. It looks like I need to try and save this chat room for everyone, because you guys had some really, really great comments and ideas in the chat room tonight. So appreciate it. Thank you very much. Anybody else have any other questions? Every once in a while, Sean. Can we go over more of what each item on the checklist actually does to the system? That was Leon's from the next meeting. Absolutely, sure. That can be a topic for one of the next meetings. That also reminds me that Savik Kumar, he got the lucky duty of being my TA for 6th period, has very graciously gone and looked at the vulnerabilities from round 1 from last year, and has come up with a best hits list of videos for everyone to take a look at based on the different vulnerabilities. So I will share that out. I will send that out in an email tomorrow morning. So thank you, Savik. You're awesome. Yes, Aren, the competitions we will always start our 6-hour competition at noon so that you are there from 12 to 6, but you do get out a fourth period, which usually on Fridays starts around 11:15. So this way you guys get an opportunity to get yourself some lunch, get yourself set up, and get yourself ready to go. Ashley Chen, thank you so much for reminding me of that. All of you have been signed up for the Cisco Net Academy. And in the Net Academy, there are 3 courses that you can take. One is about the Internet of Things. One is about Cisco and packet tracers, and that is going to be in the first competition. That is on the 3rd. The first round is going to quiz you on modules 3 to 7. Okay, it is quizzing you on modules 3 to 7 in the Cisco Challenge. And then the last thing that is new this year, besides the Internet of Things, is also Cisco has a really great class on Linux, and Ashley Chen has definitely gone through it a little bit already, and it's pretty amazing what is available to you guys. So please start going through those. You were supposed to have been signed in and looked at that at least by tonight. I'm going to go in and check and see who has logged into Cisco tomorrow. So if you have not logged into Cisco, the Net Academy by tonight, you need to do it for tomorrow, please. If you do not know how to get there, you need to make sure that you go back into your E2SD email and you look up an email from Cisco Net Acad. Okay, Cisco Net Acad. And it's going to give you an ID number, and then you set the password for what you are going to be looking through. Okay, any other questions? Oh man, the Dodgers are not doing well today. 3-1 Chicago, by the way. All right, it is 7:41. Get yourselves to that homework. Can I check my email right now, Melina? Do you want me to check it right now? Okay. Let's see. Okay. Melina has been very graciously going out and looking for some extra capture the flag and hacking type of competitions. If anyone is interested, the link is here. I will copy and paste it into the chat so that you guys can take a look. Okay. Anybody else have anything else that they need here? All right, you guys, go get your homework done. I'll see you tomorrow at school. Joy Richardson, you have homework for me to do.